What if I told you that one of the greatest IAS officers India has ever seen walked away from power, ignored luxuries, and refused the prestigious Padma Bhushan because he believed that true service needs no reward? What if I told you that while most high-ranking officers enjoyed red light cars and VIP treatment, this man arrived in a new city unnoticed, took a cycle rickshaw instead of a government vehicle, and paid the fare out of his own pocket? Sounds unbelievable, right? But this is not just a story. This is the legacy of SR Sankaran, a man who redefined what it means to be a civil servant. A man who dedicated his entire life to uplifting the poor, fighting for social justice, and breaking oppressive systems without seeking fame or recognition. His life was a testament to the fact that true leadership is not about ruling people, but empowering them. And by the end of this video, you'll realize that the real power of an IAS officer is not in their position, but in their purpose. Because SR Sankaran's story is not just inspiring, it's a lesson every UPSC aspirant must learn. Imagine this scene. An Indian Airlines flight lands in Agartala. The passengers rush out, eager to grab their luggage and leave. Among them, there's a frail, middle-aged man wearing a simple bush shirt and crumpled trousers. Nothing special about him except maybe his thick black hair. No VIP treatment, no special welcome. Just another ordinary traveler. But this ordinary traveler was actually the new Chief Secretary of the state. And while government officials were running around searching for their VIP guest, Sankaran had already stepped outside, picked up his tiny suitcase, and was negotiating with a rickshaw puller. This was not normal. A Chief Secretary, arriving quietly, taking a rickshaw instead of a government car? The police were confused, and when they finally found him sitting calmly on the rickshaw, they ran up in panic. "Sir, please, the government car is ready. Let us take you to the circuit house." But Sankaran didn't just hop off and leave. He turned to the rickshaw puller, took out the agreed fare, and paid him. Even when officials protested, he calmly said, "This was a contract. I agreed to pay him. Because of me, he missed other passengers, and that's unfair to him." And you know what happened next? The rickshaw puller, deeply moved, refused to take the full fare, saying, "My dear sir, since I didn't take you to your destination, I can't take the full amount." This moment tells you everything about SR Sankaran. Humble, honest, fair. As Mahatma Gandhi once said, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. And Sankaran truly lived this philosophy. He was not just a bureaucrat, he was a relentless force for justice. He played a crucial role in abolishing bonded labor, despite facing opposition from political leaders who benefited from the system. As Principal Secretary of Social Welfare, he actively fought against atrocities on Dalits, personally rehabilitating victims of the Karamchedu massacre. His fearless stand often led to clashes with chief ministers, leaving him without a post for months. Even after retirement in 1992, he lived simply, using his pension to fund Dalit students' education. His legacy is honored in the book Marginalization, Development and Resistance, Essays in Tribute to SR Sankaran by Hanumantha Rao, a former member of the National Advisory Council. In 2005, the Government of India decided to honor SR Sankaran with the Padma Bhushan, one of the country's highest civilian awards. And guess what? He refused it. Not because he was arrogant, not because he thought it wasn't prestigious enough, but because he genuinely believed that he had done nothing extraordinary. "I only did my duty," he said. Think about it. How many people spend their entire lives chasing awards, recognition, and status? And here was a man who walked away from it all because, for him, serving the people was enough. But the story doesn't end there. When the president insisted on honoring him, the governor of his state was sent to personally visit his home and present the award. And what they saw shocked them to the core. No lavish bungalow, no sprawling government quarters, just a single-room house. No air conditioning, no luxury furniture, just a small bed, a kerosene stove, and a washroom so far away that it didn't even have a roof. This was how one of the most powerful IAS officers of his time chose to live in complete simplicity, without a family, without wealth, without a desire for recognition. When his father once asked him to get married, Sankaran simply replied, "If I take care of my own family, then who will take care of my larger family?" And that was his life's philosophy. The people were his family. Their struggles were his own. This reminds me of a quote by Lao Tzu. When the work is done and the goal is fulfilled, they forget that they ever did it. And that was SR Sankaran. A man who did not work for applause, but for impact. A man who proved that true leadership is not about titles, but about selfless service. Imagine living a life so dedicated, so pure, that even the most powerful people in the country are left speechless by your humility. That was the legacy of SR Sankaran. Now, let me talk to you, the UPSC aspirant. You wake up before the world, bury yourself in books, push through exhaustion, and sacrifice everything for one dream to become an IAS, IPS, or IFS officer. Yes. But let me ask you, why? Is it for the power, the red light car, the government bungalow? Or is it for something deeper, something greater? SR Sankaran's life holds an answer that can reshape your perception of what it means to be a civil servant. For him, bureaucracy is not about power, it's about responsibility. For him, it's not about status, it's about service. For him, it's not about ruling over people, it's about standing with them. There will come a day when you clear UPSC, when you step into the system. That moment will define you. Will you remember this lesson? Or will you get lost in the temptations of power? Because remember this, UPSC will give you a badge, but only you can decide what it truly stands for. The country doesn't need more officers. It needs leaders. It needs warriors of justice. It needs people like you. The question is, will you rise to the occasion? In 2010, SR Sankaran passed away from a heart attack. But tell me, do people like him ever truly die? No. Because when a man dedicates his entire life to others, his name becomes immortal. His legacy doesn't fade. It echoes in the lives he changed, in the policies he shaped, in the dreams he awakened. Even today, in Hyderabad, the Social Welfare Department stands before his statue, a silent yet powerful reminder of what true service looks like. It is not built on power, but on sacrifice. Not on recognition, but on relentless dedication. This reminds me of a beautiful quote by Rabindranath Tagore. I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted and behold, service was joy. Sankaran didn't chase power, nor did he seek applause. He simply served. And that's why, even after his death, he lives on, not just in statues, not just in government records, but in the hearts of those whose lives he touched by sacrificing his own. People like him don't need memorials. Their work itself becomes their monument. Now let me ask you, what kind of officer do you truly want to be? Will you be like Sankaran, humble, fearless, and dedicated, a civil servant who serves the people, not just the position? Or will you be just another officer lost in the system, chasing promotions, perks, and power? Think about it. Today, we celebrate Bollywood stars. We memorize every detail of their lives. We copy their fashion, their dialogues, their lifestyles. But ask yourself, how many people even remember a man like SR Sankaran? A man who actually changed lives, fought for the voiceless, and gave everything he had for the country. Why do we glorify fame, but forget those who truly deserve to be remembered? A life not lived for others is not a life. Mother Teresa. So, if you truly want to serve, serve selflessly. If you want to lead, lead with integrity. If you want to make a difference, make it like SR Sankaran did. Because power will fade. Awards will collect dust. But the impact you leave on people's lives, that's what makes you truly unforgettable. Now, tell me, what do you think about this story? Would you have the courage to put service above self like Sankaran did? Let's discuss in the comments. Subscribe to the UPSC Monk for more inspiring stories that will change the way you see UPSC preparation, and maybe even the way you see life itself. Because UPSC is not just about clearing an exam, it's about preparing to serve.